I'm Shae Russell for mining.com.au, and joining me today is Gavin Lloyden, the Managing Director for QEM. Gavin, how are you today?
I'm great, and thanks for having us again, Shae. Great to see you.
I'm thrilled to have you on because this is essentially our Vanadium 102 chat. Now, for everybody listening, I highly encourage you to go watch our original video where we talked about the basics of vanadium and how it's been around for a lot longer than we realize. But, Gavin, in that chat, you pointed out that vanadium is actually very important for something called vanadium flow batteries. First and foremost, can you even tell us what that is?
Yeah, certainly. Well, it's an Australian invention developed back at the University of New South Wales back in the early 80s by Professor Maria Skylos-Kazakos. And Maria still is working on these projects in the university. And she's had quite a number of variations since that first iteration. And interestingly, they looked at a battery that's been running for the last 15 years and just to see how that looked and what needed changing and how it reacted, and it's absolutely perfect. It's the electrolyte in these batteries has less than 1% degradation over the 30-year period. So, yeah, so they go for a very, very long time and with very little management required.
Okay, that is fantastic. All things I didn't know, and I can see me entirely derailing today's conversation based on that one little fact. But why are vanadium flow batteries important?
Well, when we're looking at this global energy transition that we're involved in at the moment, we've got plenty of generation, renewable generation coming online. But in essence, you really need to have storage to time shift some of that available energy to more useful times of the day, and particularly with solar, because solar is generating during the day when everyone's at work or at school. Not the most optimum time, but if you can store that and then use that in the peak hours, that's the solution that we need for this this holistic approach to energy transition to occur. And these batteries are very well suited to Australian conditions because they're liquid batteries. As you rightly mentioned, they're a flow battery. So very little heat generated in these batteries. They're very safe. They work in Australian environments, 50 degrees plus down to sub-zeros, and they maintain that energy density all the way through. So they don't get there's no discrepancies in high temperature or in low temperature that you might find with other battery systems. And the other real advantage is these are regarded as long duration energy storage system. So that's for 4 hours plus. So some of your other materials like lithium, they're up to 4 hours. This is 4 hours plus, 4 hours, 10 hours and beyond. This has certainly been recognised well in China because they have been rolling out some very big units over the last few years. They decided some time ago that vanadium is for the grid support and lithium is for your cars and for your transportable electronics. So, and given there's only finite amounts of both, they need to make sure that things are going in the right direction. And similarly here, we've got a third of the world's vanadium resource. So we need to get that extracted. There is none at the moment that's in production, but there's a few getting close. And it's another resilient story for Australia as well. Homegrown material, homegrown technology. It's a pit to product scenario that we're looking for, which is a full grab of the value stream, if you like, from mining right through to battery production. And we can do that now in Australia using vanadium. We've got plenty of it to go on with.
Gavin, that is remarkable, and I love that concept of vanadiums for the grid and lithium-ion batteries for your car. But tell me, even though this concept has been around for a long period of time, why has it taken us so long to embrace the idea of vanadium flow batteries?
Well, you're dead right. It's celebrating its 40th year this year and 20 years of commercialisation. The reason it's taken a while is because this energy transition is only quite a new thing. Back in the 80s, there wasn't much call for grid scale support batteries. However, that has changed, and the market dynamics have changed, and the need has changed. So it's just very opportune timing, and I think vanadium batteries are just about to take their place in this energy transition system.
I did warn you there was a chance I was going to derail today's conversation based on some of these facts that you've just given me. Tell me, what is Australia's role in vanadium? You talk about us having one third of the resource just before, and that QEM is looking at building a pit to product solution. So, how does Australia fit into the, I guess, the vanadium story globally?
Well, as I say, it's the best solution for large-scale energy storage, and it has a number of, you can have complete off-grid applications, or you can just have load leveling within the system. So it takes out those gas peaker plants. So as a matter of immediacy, it's taking out that high expense of gas peaker plants when you have those peak hours of the year or peak days, both hot and cold. So it has a multiple of functions because it can be charged and discharged at the same time, but also for off-grid applications here in Queensland, we've got the government building a $5 billion poles and wires project called the Copper String project from Townsville to Mount Isa. Now that, of course, is going to have a lot of generation of renewables along that pathway. But all of which will need storage. Otherwise, you're losing a lot of that advantage of solar, particularly during the day, because there's nowhere for it to go. It's negative pricing on some occasions. So commercially, it doesn't really work because, as I said earlier, you need to take that energy and place it into a part of the day where it's more useful to us.
All right, one final question, just because I'm absolutely fascinated by this, and energy is an absolute passion area of mine. Tell me, when we're talking about battery storage for the home or for the grid, what size are we talking battery-wise per, I'm going to say gigawatt, just because that's an energy size people are used to hearing about?
Sure. Well, some of those projects in China are at that level already. They've just announced another 7 gigawatt hours of storage of vanadium. The impact of that to the market, to give you some idea, the whole world produced about 125,000 tonnes of vanadium metal last year, including China and Russia, the two biggest suppliers. But that's nowhere near enough if you're talking about 10,000 tonnes of vanadium required per gigawatt hour of storage. So if you do the math on that, you can see where this market is going and why it's going to be driven by batteries. We need 200% of global production as it currently stands just to meet the battery uptake.
Okay, this is absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, we've run out of time for today's conversation. Thank you so much. This has been a great follow-up to our initial vanadium chat. Thank you for being here. I can't wait to see what you come up with next time we chat.
Thanks, Shae. Very much appreciated. And look forward to seeing you next time.